Hello traders, this is Chris from AAAFx taking a look at the Dow Jones 30, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average had a pretty wild session. As we're starting to get close, last few minutes of the session, you can see we've given up quite a bit of the gains. Not a huge surprise, we're extraordinarily overbought. Indices in the United States don't typically gain 10% without pulling back, let alone gaining it in 2.5-ish weeks. So with that being the case, it's not a huge surprise to see that we've crossed above the overbought line in the RSI and formed a shooting star. This does not necessarily facilitate the idea of shorting. I mean, I guess if you're a short enough time frame trader, it's a possibility. But as I had mentioned yesterday, I think at this point, there's probably a floor right here at about 35,000 in the short term. So we could, in theory, kind of look at that as a potential spot. There's the 4-hour chart. It would be a very gentle pullback. But quite frankly, we could go down to 34,300. And I think that still would be a relatively reasonable pullback. It'd be at the beginning of this impulsive candlestick that we had seen previously and right around the 38.2% fib. Now, one thing worth noting is the Santa Claus rally. So there are going to be a lot of people pushing for this. The whole idea of cheap and easy money coming out of the Federal Reserve, of course, is something that a lot of traders are standing hat in hand waiting. Since the GFC, we've seen the Federal Reserve come out in favor of Wall Street multiple times and not so much Main Street. In the United States, though, we are having a major argument as to who the Fed should be helping. And for once, they may not be helping Wall Street. At least they haven't in the last year. Of course, you can see Wall Street's completely ignored it, so who knows. But regardless, this is a market that is overextended. You do need to find some value. It would be extraordinarily foolish to chase this market all the way up here, especially considering it's near an all-time high. The seasonality does help, but that doesn't mean you jump in right away. Small position at 35,000, wait to see if it works out in your favor. Might do the trick, and then somewhere closer to the 38.2% fib, as mentioned previously. Maybe add some more. It just depends on your strategy, but do not jump all in here. If we break out to the upside, that might actually be worse, because typically the further you go vertical, the more parabolic the market is, the more vicious the pullback. So we really kind of need to see a handful of negative days here to keep up the uptrend.
AAAFx, AAAFx.